blasphemy. This is madness.
Stop the insanity!
Are you ready?
You're absolutely out of your mind. I think it's absurd. I think it's an abomination. I think it's a disgrace. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You're a jackass. Embrace the madness.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Complete the Process edition of the Madness. Jessica Town, Rob Lange, Jess. We have waited for something from someone when it comes to free agency trades, and of course,
anything relevant.
Of course, it happens at 4 a.m. while we were all sleeping.
Yep.
But the Sixers made a move, and with that, we welcome you into the Madness. Brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com, powered by WildfireRadio.com. We're glad you could be with us. As always, catch us Friday mornings, 9 to 11 for the audio. Catch us on YouTube by searching The Madness Podcast. We'll be up and running again on there. As you can tell, we're back in a basement episode, probably for the next 2 weeks at least. We're in the basement. Basketball is coming down to the end. It's a good thing.
It's his fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault. It's okay. I think these chairs are a little more comfortable.
They're comfy, yeah.
Okay, well...
I didn't say anything. I just said it's your fault.
Anyway, we're not going to fight today, Jess. We are not fighting.
Okay.
This is a happy day. The Sixers made a move that came totally out of left field. You heard all kinds of names being thrown around.
None
Never
in
once.
relevance to the Sixers, though. In trade talks.
Yes,
There were buyout talks of people who might get bought out that the Sixers might go
Yes.
after, but they did a really good job of keeping a
Keeping
lid on
everything in-house
this until
4
it
a.m.
broke, yeah.
And at 4 a.m., we found out that the Sixers shipped Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, 2 first-round picks, their own, and the Miami 2021 pick, to the L.A. Clippers for Tobias Harris, who's having a hell of a year, Mike Scott, the regional manager, or as it says on
The regional manager.
one of the websites, the regional manager, and not from a talent perspective, but maybe the guy I'm most excited about, and that's Boban.
I'm so excited.
How do you pronounce it?
Marjanovic.
Marjanovic. I have watched this guy for 2 years and said, this big SOB is annoying because he can't move, but he just dominates the paint. He gave Embiid so much issues in the first game earlier this season.
Yeah, because he's 7'4".
And then
He's enormous.
after the trade broke, I found out all this stuff about him. Like, I don't know, he might be the second funniest guy to Joel Embiid in the league, and now they're in the same locker room.
He's hilarious. Did you see the memes that came out of this today are fantastic. Sixers Twitter wins every time. And one of my personal favorites was, you remember last week after one of their games, there was a rat or something in the ceiling of Wells?
Yes.
And did you see Joel
And the one meme was fantastic.
and it's a picture of him, and it's like it's everyone when Boban walks into the locker room. Hilarious.
Did you see when he hijacked Robert Covington's press conference? I don't know if it was over this season or last. It was whenever the first time he played against Boban was.
And he said Boban was the best big man in the
And
league.
someone was like talking to Rob, and he went, "Oh, that dude's nice. His game's nice." And now they're on the same team. And as Jamie Lynch put it this morning on the show, on his show on 97.5, the morning show, the Bobo and JoJo show.
Oh,
and
so
I am
excited.
so excited.
I'm so excited.
And even if it's only for 30 games, I can't wait to watch this for 30 games.
I'm so excited.
I
Was
hope
he
they
a free
do.
agent the other year?
Yeah, apparently they all are. All the contracts they got are expiring, and we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into our thoughts on the trade. We're going to get into the thoughts of other people on this trade. We'll talk about the other trades that have gone down the league, the rumors that are going down in the league. Don't feel as though we are not paying attention to you at home tonight, but obviously we are going to be tied into Twitter all night,
Trying to keep track
of everything that's happening. And, once again, here we go. Houston, Cleveland, that's the real count. Houston, Cleveland, Sacramento completing a 3-way deal that will send Iman Shumpert to the Rockets. League sources tell ESPN. That comes from Woj. It's a Woj bomb right there. So, I mean, there are things happening literally all over the place, and we will try and bring them to you, even though you'll get this stuff on Friday or tomorrow if we get the YouTube up in time.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try to get the YouTube up as fast.
I mean, you're a busy girl, though.
I am.
You got
You're
teaching
right.
to do and everything else.
I have a lot of things going
We'll
on.
see how it goes. Make sure you're following this one at RunThisTown13 on Twitter. Not only is she writing for ProSportsNotes.com, she's also writing for Wildfire. Has an awesome article on Pro Sports Notes right now. Or is it on Wildfire?
Which one?
The Kilimanjaro.
Oh, that's on Pro Sports Notes.
Pro Sports Notes about Chris Long, his Water Boys. Congratulations to Chris Long.
Walter
Payton Man of the Year. Well deserved. I look forward to donating to the cause this year. I will not be walking it because I can barely walk up my steps. And I'm not going to walk up Mount Kilimanjaro, but...
No, but $6, so as I was writing the article, what I was reading is, I forget how much it said it takes to pay for one well, but each well services like 7,000 people, and so far they've built 55, and which is like over 200,000, and it's $6. It comes out to $6 for one person to be able to get clean water, which
Right, and then I thought it was like, I think it was 30 for a family, and then obviously you go up and
so
so forth.
go donate.
And do you remember what the website was? We should get the website and put it out there.
It's
just because
waterboys.org.
Waterboys.org, and then he had another website on his Twitter they sent to somebody that was Conquering
Killy. That's
Conquering
what it is.
Killy,
It's
yeah.
if you Google Conquering Killy or the Water Boys initiative, or just Chris Long, Mount Kilimanjaro, anything of that nature,
Yes.
the website will come up.
Just
Go
make
donate.
sure if you search the Water Boys, you do not click on Adam Sandler's
Not
movie
the
from the
movie.
90s, early 2000s. Hey, there's Tobias Harris
it's
dunking.
so
That's
pretty.
beautiful.
It's such a beautiful sight to see.
Go out there and donate. It's a great cause. Maybe, fingers crossed, down the line, we could get someone who could talk to us a little bit more in depth about
Would love to do
the
that.
Water Boys. We're working our connections, trying to work our connections. We'll see what happens. So, Jess, we will get to the boring Super Bowl.
Ugh.
We will probably. I want to touch on the Phillies a little bit towards the end. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't say anything.
I don't
I
know.
just
You gave me a look like I hate them.
no. I mean, I'm just really. They're just on my last nerve at this point.
Yeah, they're on everybody's last number at this point. We should talk on the Eagle. Well, maybe a brief Nick Foles update. I mean, everything that's happened
Just a Nick Foles update
was
is all we
expected.
needed.
Was expected. So we'll get into all of that. But let's start with the news that broke at 4 a.m. And Jess, let our viewers know, how were you alerted of the news?
So this morning, my alarm was going off, snoozing it as I do. I'm one of those people that, not that sets multiple alarms like every 5 minutes. I'm one of those that sets an alarm for an hour before I need to wake up because I have to snooze a bunch of times. I can't get up on the first try. I don't trust those kinds of people that can do that.
No, I hate it. I actually try and do that by setting my phone across the room. I walk across the room, I turn the alarm off, I get back in bed.
Right. So I don't trust those people. So I opened my eyeball for a second just to see what time it was, to see how close I was to having to get up. And right underneath my alarm thing on my phone, it said 76ers trade. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that's what got me up this morning.
And there you
15
go.
minutes earlier than I originally had planned.
Just to give you the update, Cleveland sends Alec Burks to the Kings. The Rockets send Brandon Knight to the Kings. The Rockets send Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, and a protected first to the Cavs, and I guess Shumpert goes to Houston is the way that deal breaks down. So we'll just keep telling you things as they come here, just because it's fun that way. At Scoop B reporting the AD sweepstakes, 50-50 chance a trade happens on Thursday. Magic and Pelinka, the two GMs, have been waiting for this moment to trade for AD. They're not just going to walk away from it 2 days before the deadline. They've got contingency plans. Stay tuned is what he has said in the past. He said a 50-50 chance that happens. That's a weird situation,
Yeah, it's super weird.
that AD situation. We'll talk about that. But I don't know what not to like about what the Sixers did.
I'm sad about Landry Shamet, but
you can be
I
sad.
Can get over it.
You can be sad, but the fact that it happened last night, I feel like everyone should have seen it more. You saw last night how limited this 76ers team is against the upper echelon teams in the East when it comes to J.J. Redick being out and your bench consisting of T.J. McConnell, Furkan Korkmaz, Landry Shamet.
No, Landry Shamet started last night.
Landry Shamet started last night. Jonah Bolden. Okay? Mike Muscala.
Who else? Did he start last night? Yeah, he did, because wasn't Chandler started.
Because wasn't Chandler sorry. Mike Muscala, I am so glad that he's gone.
I can't even put into words how glad he's gone.
It's almost my favorite thing about this whole
and
entire
I don't
deal.
think that's a secret.
No. So.
I actually went to high school with, and still no, keep in touch with. So in the 5-year span when Moose was at Bucknell and C.J. McCollum was at Lehigh,
C.J.
there were.
That's my.
There were 5 years in there, and there were 3 Patriot League Players of the Year. Mike Muscala twice, C.J. McCollum twice, and a guy by the name of Cameron Ayers, who plays in Italy, who I went to high school with.
Okay.
So he played at Bucknell with Moose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that, like, his mom still teaches at the school. Joe had her, because she's a Spanish teacher. I didn't take Spanish, but we see him around every now and then. She is a small school. We all know each other. So it's one of those little, like, connections where I wanted to like him a lot more, but I couldn't because of the way he performed.
No, his performances were terrible. And Wilson Chandler would every now and again he'd give you a good night, but he was very hit or miss.
And I couldn't stand that baby tattoo on his neck.
And that, I mean, that's not what they traded him.
No, but I'm so happy I don't have to look at it.
And he'd been getting hurt a lot. I mean, I just don't know if the guy could stay healthy, so you're able to get rid of him, which they're both expiring contracts. Obviously, we loved Landry Shamet. We loved the way he played. He played hard. He was tenacious, but
the way he played off the bench was so much better.
But he lacked defensively, and when you went up against guys like they did in Toronto last night, he was very much exposed. He didn't score until the fourth quarter of the game last night. Landry Shamet's a guy that if he was the 8th, 9th guy on your bench, you'd feel a lot better. But here he had to be the 6th, 7th guy off your bench because of the lack of...
He wasn't even that bad as a 6th, 7th guy coming off the bench, because when he came out, he knew... I don't know if it was like the pressure of either having to be like, oh, you're starting in place of J.J. Redick kind of thing, or if it was the pressure of, oh, you're starting, or what it was. But, I mean, for some reason, he was lights out coming off the bench on the offensive side. And even you were beginning to see his defense improve, but it was also because he was in there limited minutes. He wasn't in there in a starter's minutes, so he was in there, and but he played hard on the defensive end, which is not something you can say for.
He tried. He was as someone said about J.J. Redick today. I guess you could say about Landry Shamet. He was a willing defender. He was willing to try.
Yeah.
He just wasn't very good at it.
Right.
The whole bench. I mean, the whole entire Sixers bench's issue has been all season. They're weak defenders. T.J. McConnell might get up in your what.
Right.
But when he goes up against a better guard, he can't do that.
Right. And when he's playing 22 minutes a night.
Yeah, Mike Muscala way too slow.
Oh,
Jonah
Mike
Bolden
Muscala
has some
jumps like he has rocks in his ass.
Jonah Bolden has some potential, but to me, and Mike Missinelli said this today, and I totally agree. If you can get to a point where Jonah Bolden's your 9 or 10 on the bench, and Korkmaz is either back in Turkey or your 12th guy on the bench.
Back in Turkey.
Then
anywhere, but that's not necessarily uniform.
Then you're in good shape. It means you have the bench pieces. Now here's the deal. Their bench is still a weak spot, no doubt about it. But you have a backup center and give you 12 minutes a game in Boban, which you look at his points per minutes played. If it was stretched out to a whole game, it would be like 20 points per game. He could get you 7, 8, 9 points, I think.
Well,
you have the stats.
I mean, he's averaging career highs in points, blocks, and
but he's been having to play a lot more than he's going to have to play here. Here, what he is he is your spell guy for Joel, and you don't have to worry as much about losing a rim protector.
People don't see Joel going to the bench and go, thank God. They see Joel going to the bench and now they're like,
I
oh my
hate
God,
absolutely,
we still
because
have
you
to
would
deal
go to
with
Muscala, or God, sometimes they went really small. That Jonah Bolden, they've tried, but Jonah Bolden's more of a 4. He's not a 5.
He needs to be the backup or third form.
He's a third forward. I think he's a guy that if you have both Embiid
if
and
he
Boban in
starts
foul
to
trouble,
control his limbs and his fouls a little bit more,
Yes.
he could be the backup.
yeah.
But right now, he's just not polished
I
enough
agree.
for that role, especially
Um,
going into a 7-game series
so-
with the Bucks, Raptors, and
Yeah.
Celtics.
So Boban is look. We said we needed a backup center. Is it the greatest backup center in the world? No, but it's somebody. It's somebody who I feel a little bit more comfortable when Boban comes in
Yes,
for 8 to 10 minutes a game.
The man's-
He's not going to play any more than that.
the man's enormous.
Joel is going to play 35 to 38 minutes a game. He's going to.
and that's fine. as
And he
long
played
as-
42 last night, and Brett said he didn't want to play him 42. He kind of had to.
Yeah.
So 35 to 38 would be fine. And that means you give 10 to 12 minutes a game to Boban, and you move forward. Mike Scott, I don't know a ton about this guy. It sounds
He's
more
the
like
regional manager of Dunder Mifflin.
yes, he's the regional manager of Dunder Mifflin. But the other Mike Scott that I'm discussing,
It's
let's see, place report yet.
yeah.
So from what it sounds like, he's almost a better version, maybe a more athletic version of Mike Muscala. Shoots
Yeah.
about 38, 39% from three.
They are exact upgrades in each spot of what
Yeah,
he gave
Boban's
up.
better than Amir.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think
Tobias
Mike
Harris is absolutely an upgrade from Wilson Chandler.
Wilson Chandler and Landry Shamet combined.
Yeah.
And we'll get to Tobias Harris, obviously. Mike Scott kind of gives you more athleticism on. Listen, when you talk, like, do you have the height of Mike Scott?
I think he's 6'6".
Okay, so you got a longer, athletic guy that can go out there. He's not, I don't know if he's a
I lied
tremendous
to you.
defender.
Malachi Richardson, 6'6".
Yeah, we'll talk about him later. So we don't have Mike Scott's.
I'll get it. You keep talking.
Okay. But listen, we sat here at the end of last year, we sat here all year saying that there was no athleticism out on the perimeter for this team. And you're gaining that little by little now. And Mike Scott's a guy.
He's 6'8".
Okay, Mike Scott's a guy that he's going to play that 4 spot, but he's going to be a stretch 4. He could probably go out and guard on the perimeter.
Yeah.
His length will at least throw guys off. And he's not. I can't imagine he's as slow a foot as Mike Muscala.
No one's as slow foot as Mike
I just can't imagine.
I will
Like,
tell
I'm not
you
gonna
right
lie
now.
to you. I don't know much about Mike Scott, but I like it because it seems like it's an upgrade over Mike.
He's
Muscala.
got emoji tattoos, which I think are fancy.
That's stupid.
It's so stupid, I know.
No,
It's better
I've
than
lost.
the baby.
I've lost.
It's better than the baby.
I don't know about that.
Okay, he was so tatted and he had this baby in the middle of his neck.
I know what he had. I saw it all the
And
time.
I'm sure it was his baby, and I think that's very nice and a nice gesture.
Apparently you don't.
But
You've
I don't-
actually now
Anyways,
on 3
that's
different shows
completely
mocked
irrelevant.
it.
It's completely irrelevant to me. But I will tell you that I was not okay with star hunting and getting Mike Muscala and Wilson Chandler. I can live with
We all-
star
we all
hunting and
said that.
getting Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Boban,
Yeah.
and the regional
So-
manager.
You mentioned Tobias Harris, and obviously he was the big piece in this deal. He was a guy that not many people knew was available for trade. Now, look,
Tobias Harris is always available for trade.
yeah, the Sixers had to pay a hefty price. It's a lot to give up. But as I put on Twitter earlier today, and everyone's like, oh, it's risky to give that. Any trade you make in any sporting league is a risk, and it's going to be a risk. But if you believe you are primed to try and get to the NBA Finals this year, you have to take this risk. This was what the process was all about. Have all this stuff. When they traded Bridges the night of the draft, and everybody was pissed off, Brett Brown came out and he said, look, we have Bridges and Smith very closely graded. The tipping point was a 2021 pick. He said,
Which
whether
we don't
it's,
get this trade
and he
done
said,
without.
whether it's we use it or use it to bring in somebody else. And the 2021 pick goes into this, and you're right. You don't get this trade without that
You
pick.
don't get this trade without Landry Shamet in the 2021.
You had to do it. And Elton Brand said, you know what? We have a core here. We got young guys. Everybody's under 30 outside of JJ
Yep.
in this core. We're going to go for this. And now here's Tobias Harris. And not only that, somebody said this. I think it might have been Chris Carter said this today, and I totally agree. The Sixers are the first team that has looked at Tobias Harris and said,
You
you
are
are a part of our future, and you're a part of our future.
Because think about it, he's been a part of some huge trades. He
Yeah.
was part of that Blake
like a lot of
Griffin
young
trade.
guys are. A lot of young guys are always a part of those big trades.
Right. But he's been in the league for 8 years.
Right.
He's been in the league for 8 years. He was drafted, I think, 11th overall in 2011. Played 1 year at Tennessee and came out.
Came right out.
And he's been traded all over the place. He's been on 5 teams in 8 years. And like I said, he's been a part of some of these bigger name trades to get these people moving around. But they're guys like Blake Griffin and things like that. And you're right, I did see that clip with Chris Carter. They're the first team not only to say we want you as part of our future, but to go for a trade because they want Tobias Harris.
Right.
It's the first time, so I think he's going to come in here, like Chris Carter said, with a lot more confidence. I mean,
absolutely.
he's already averaging 20.9 points a night, which is 6.2 more than, he has over the last 7 years. I mean, he's shooting 49.6% overall, 43.4% from 3. The only person with better numbers than that is a man named Steph Curry.
Yeah. And I think he's the third most efficient shooter behind Steph and Clay over the last year or something like that. But
also throwing in 7.9 rebounds a game
yeah,
and almost
now
3
look,
assists.
And he may not average 20 points a game here.
He's not going to.
But he also doesn't take a ton of shots. Okay? So he's not like, oh my God, is there going to be enough basketballs to go around? They'll find a way. And that's up to Brett Brown. Brett Brown's got to find a way to make that all happen. But, I read a really good article that was written about him at the beginning of the season where Doc Rivers came to him at the end of the year last year and said, these are the 5 things I want you to work on. And that's what he went and did. And it's made a difference. He was player of the month in October or November, something like that. And what he does, listen, it's very clear what the 2 centerpieces of this team, being Joel and Ben, need. They need space. They need spacing. To run the offense they are attempting to run, spacing is key. Well, now, if you have JJ and you have Tobias, and to a certain extent when you have Jimmy, well, you just got some spacing. Now you don't have to run the dribble handoffs all the time with JJ and Joel, because the other thing Tobias can do, and it's like I can remember having these conversations after the playoffs last year. God, the Sixers need a Jason Tatum or so who can.
No, I never said we needed.
Who can
and
create?
He's disposable.
Who can create their own shot? Who can shoot off the dribble? Who can pull up? Who can get to the basket? Tobias Harris is all of those things. He's exactly what this team needed.
Now they're still going to run those dribble
Absolutely.
because it's how their offense operates. They run that Golden State-esque fast offense because a big part of it is I was listening to 97.5 this morning, and they were talking. Somebody called in angry about the way Brett Brown runs an offense naturally, but think about it.
Because they've lost 2 in a row. It's all his fault.
Yeah, Ben Simmons dribbles the ball up the floor slowly every time. He doesn't score. We don't see Ben Simmons score ever if he just goes up nonchalantly and starts from there.
And if he dribbles up fast, he's either going to score or he's going to turn it over because that's all he does.
Right.
Not that Ben's played excellent. Ben has played excellent.
He did not play well
excellent.
start the game last night.
Yeah,
he pulled it together by the end.
Yeah, the turnovers just drive me over.
The turnovers are bad, but I mean, when he goes in there with a full head of steam, I mean, the ball, there's going to be a shot made.
Yeah.
And I think that they're still going to run the same things. It's just that's one more person that every defense has to worry about, and they can't just double Ben and Joel every time or double Joel and Jimmy. They're not going to have that luxury because when you have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris on the floor, what are you going to do? Who are you going to double to leave open?
That's what I mean. It's going to create and I heard someone talking about this today. I mean, obviously people have been talking about it all day. It was the big news in the NBA for most of the day. Now it's going to be when that first sub comes and JJ and Joel go out. You still have Tobias, Ben, and Jimmy out there. Then
Boban.
And Boban's in. Then you take Ben out. Maybe you throw, and maybe you take Toby out. Okay, you still have Jimmy out there. Then when it's time to make that switch, now you're bringing Joel back. These guys are always going to be on the floor.
There's always going to be one of them on the floor.
Yeah.
And this is something that Joe and I have actually talked about a lot is we hate seeing the rotations. And, I mean, not just Brett's rotations.
Stauskas getting sent again.
Oh, I did see that he was going to get sent again. Poor guy. I think that one of the things that drives me the most crazy is, and it's only noticeable when the bench that they had was going through those spurts where they just couldn't score. Against Golden State, the bench was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They did what they needed to do, but against the Kings,
So much fun.
against the Raptors, so much fun.
The Golden State game was so
It
much
was
fun.
so much fun.
I got in so much trouble because I stayed up.
Oh my god, I was screaming
the
at the
quote,
TV.
the quote that was given to me when I got into bed at 2 a.m. If you don't get up with these girls in the morning, there will be a divorce. As she rolled over, half asleep.
Amazing.
To which I just said, "Good night."
Love you.
Sixers won.
Yeah, I like walked upstairs and the next morning I saw my dad and I was like, Dad, the Sixers won. He goes, yeah, I know, I heard you the whole time.
Uh-huh.
He goes, I couldn't fall asleep, so I just finished watching it on my phone. And I was like, good man.
That's it.
But so when the bench is going through those things where they're not scoring, it's so painful to see Joel and Jimmy on the bench at the same time,
Mhm.
or just Ben on the floor, or just Joel on the floor, or just Jimmy on the floor.
Yeah.
A combination of two of them needs to be on the floor
and-
at all
and
times,
some
and it
of that-
wasn't, and
and-
it was just.
Yeah, and some of that was on Brett. Like, for example, last night he takes Joel out with about 4.5 minutes to go because he had played so much. He should have done that earlier. Now you don't have to be as afraid to do that earlier because you have guys that can come in and play.
Once that offensive foul was called on Landry Shamet, I mean the game was
Like
over
this,
at that
do
point.
you know what the shame of it is? That's going to be the last play of Landry Shaman's career as a 76.
I know, and that's really sad.
That sucks.
That's so
It absolutely
sad.
sucks because there
Because
were so many more good ones.
that should have been the play of the game.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
would have
that
got
was
it to 4.
absolute. That
They
was
would've got it to
it
4.
was absolute crap. It was
Terrible.
God, I was so angry. I was so upset. Obviously, it wouldn't have. It might not have changed the outcome of the game. The Raptors absolutely deserved to win that game. They played so much better than
Yes, they
But
beat them in
but
every
the
aspect.
fact that I mean, it's just a shame. It's just a shame. And I kept tweeting at the NBA referee account that's supposed to be interacting with fans, and I haven't heard back yet.
No?
I'm upset about it.
No one got back to you on that one?
No, I'm upset.
Why am I not surprised? Officials suck at every level. Officials are a bunch of jackasses.
Did you see my tweet that was like the NFL refs finished their season
Uh-huh.
and moved on to the NBA?
No, I think it was just the high school refs in my area. Refs in general are jackasses.
Yep.
Many of them are fake tough. We had an experience last night, so I was already on edge about officiating last night, and then that happened, and I was really
Do
on
I
edge
get to
about
hear this
officiating.
story about you being?
I don't even know if I'm going to go into it. It happens all the time. These guys just don't know what they're doing. Sometimes the game's too fast for them. We had one guy, no disrespect to him, but he looked like he should have been in high school reffing the game. It was an absolute disgrace. And
Did you
I hate, we lost with 3 seconds left on a 3-pointer. They were given 3 extra possessions in a row off of bogus calls towards the end of the game, which got it to the point where they were able to shoot that 3 and beat us by 2. Just ugly, terrible. We didn't play very well, but we still had a chance to win the game, and I felt it kind of got taken from us in those last couple possessions. Not that they lost the game for us. We did that plenty on our own, but still, you like to see that thing happen. All right, I've got my rant out about the officials. I don't understand where people are getting off not liking the Tobias trade.
They're just upset that Sixers had to give up so much, but they're not going to be upset when.
So they're all
when
processors, is what you're telling
when
me.
we win the NBA championship.
What? Easy. What you're telling me is they're all processors.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're all.
They're not going to be upset when
Excuse me.
the Sixers at least make it to the NBA Finals. They're not going to be upset if Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris both re-sign here. And
Which is what I want to talk about next. See that?
and-
Good transition.
I mean, be upset all you want. Elton hit the nail on the head. Elton Brand absolutely hit the nail on the head with this trade. This is exactly what needed to happen, and I think it's hilarious that it happened before the game last night. Elton was late getting to his seat. Did you notice that? He wasn't in his seat.
I was coaching, so I missed the beginning of the game, but I heard
Elton
he was
was
not
not in his seat. He showed up like right before halftime, and the crowd was screaming at him about
Yes.
we're losing by 20. This is embarrassing. This is on national TV. Trade for this person. Trade for this person. Trade for this person. And Elton just kind of sat there.
Mhm.
And then the Clippers were the late game, so they finished their game. And
And that was it.
That was the rest
Now,
of history.
this was put out earlier today by Kyle Neubeck, who covers the Sixers, does a really good job. He said he wrote a piece talking about Sixers trade for Tobias Harris has significant short and long-term stakes. And he says, I mentioned in this piece, and it's a nice effect of this deal, if Brown wants to commit to Butler as the point guard in that him, Embiid, and bench lineup, what he can now do is attach Harris to being in with Simmons, so that Simmons isn't out there alone with the bench. That lineup that we all hate, when it's either Ben or Joe and just the bench, doesn't ever have to happen again. Because
Which is
of
what we were
Tobias
just
Harris.
talking about.
Yes.
When it's just one of them, and there
And-
should always be two of them on the floor at the same time, and now there always can be. See, I said that already.
This is what I deal with. I love her. She's fantastic. The show is great. But my God,
It's the truth. I literally just said that.
we said it a different way. This was more specific to Harris being with Ben and
Okay.
Pete and Jimmy and Joe.
My point was exactly that. Two of them at the same time. Every time.
Well, this is a
Never
great
did-
show, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the 30 minutes.
Are you done with me already?
No, I made you
I
jump
drove
off.
all the way.
I was gonna say,
I
drove
drove
all the way
all
here.
the way here.
We're with it for 90 minutes at least, so we'll continue to push through. Now, there is the concern that everybody had, the same concern they all had with Jimmy Butler. You traded, and let's just talk about the big piece in Tobias Harris for an expiring contract, the guy that will be an unrestricted free agent come the summer. Woj and others have reported that the Sixers fully intend to not only sign one of them, but sign both of them. Now, it doesn't make any sense for them to say, oh, well, they're not going to be able to sign both of them right now. Like, they want to keep everybody in the frame of mind. What this does is it gives them insurance. If Jimmy decides he just doesn't like it here, he doesn't flow here, he can't be who he wants to be here, well, you have Tobias.
The Rockets also traded for Nick Stauskas and Wade Baldwin.
Yes, that's I just said that.
I didn't know that.
I just said that.
I didn't know that it was to the Rockets. Oh, it's all part of that 3-team.
Yeah.
I didn't know Stauskas was involved in that. I saw that they were probably going to move him, and you obviously said that he was. I just didn't know it was that trade. I thought it was a different one.
She's not always right, folks. She makes mistakes.
Very rarely.
Oh, here we go. I lost my train of thought. It gives them some leverage on both of these guys if they don't want to give two maxes, if they want to give one of them a near max or something like that. The key thing is the bird rights. They can give both of these guys 5 years, which does play. Brian Windhorst said today that's huge when you can give a guy the 5 years. They want that feeling of being at a certain place for 5 years. Nothing's going to change that. I should have brought water down. What was I saying?
5 years.
5 years. They want that idea that they're going to be in one place for an extended period of time. I know people are saying they're just saying it to keep everybody happy. I think they fully intend to sign both. I think they fully intend to talk to JJ at the end of the year to see if he'll take less money again. But if he won't, you can replace. I guess you can replace that.
I don't know how.
But they want this big four. They want this to be. You got four guys because Jimmy's what? Jimmy's 29.
He'll be 30.
Yeah, but right now you have your big four is under 30. You want to build with this big four. They don't care. It's been said by Woj. It's been said by multiple people. They don't care about the luxury tax. They don't care what they have to pay. Joshua Harris wants. I've ripped this guy because he's a nerdy dude, and when he talks, I want to punch him in the face and all this other stuff. And he could come off like a hashtag jackass, and I will tell you why I just said hashtag jackass shortly.
I know why. Don't tell me.
Well, I'm going to tell them. But give the guy credit. He does seem like he wants to win here. He really does seem like he wants to win. That
Yeah.
He's basically told Elton, go out there and do your thing.
Yeah, and I actually don't think JJ Redick is going to be as easy to replace as
No,
you just kind of said. Maybe
I don't think it's easy to replace, but I
I think
if
over the
there's
last two games we've realized how important JJ Redick is to this team, and I think that it's frightening how we almost lost him to the Bucks in the offseason. You're making me yawn over here. he really he
Everything's
was
my
close.
fault.
He was close to signing with the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sixers came to him at the last minute and said, we want to keep you back here. And I think the Sixers should have given him a multi-year deal for less money and not just given him another 1 year. I think they absolutely need to just give him a contract to say, hey, take a little bit less money. We'll keep you here for the rest of your career. You can finish it out here, whenever you want.
Yeah,
And I think, because I think over the last 2 games, I think it's been very apparent how important he is to that starting
oh
lineup.
my God.
Now,
he's
granted,
in front-
it's a little bit different when you have somebody like Tobias Harris at the 4 and not Mike Muscala.
Right now,
But-
someone NBA Central put out this stat line earlier. I'm sure you've probably seen it because you've been on Twitter as much as I have.
Yep.
But I want to go over it. Here's your averages for your starting 5. Simmons, 17 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, 8 assists a game, 57% field goal percentage. Redick, 18.3 points per game, 38% 3-point. Butler, 19.5 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 48% field goal. Harris, 20.9 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, 50% field goal, 43% 3-point. Embiid, 27.4 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, 48% field goal. You can't argue that this is not the best 1 through 5 starting lineup in
It
at
is.
least the Eastern Conference.
It is.
You can't. I'm not going to go over to the Western Conference. I know a lot of people are trying to make these comparisons. Just stop. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Did you see Tobias Harris's tweet?
Which one?
Excited for this new opportunity with the Sixers.
Oh, yes.
Let's get to work and bring another championship to Philadelphia. Hashtag trust the process. With this lovely picture of him and Joel Embiid hugging each other. It's great.
Yes. In 2011, he apparently had a tweet where he said, "What's up with the Eagles?"
It was when
I was like, "What was going on in 2011 with the Eagles? I can't remember."
it was the year before
the end.
the Dream Team year. So it was the year before that. I don't know how they did in 2011. It couldn't have been good. Was it when Kevin Cobb was the starting quarterback?
And then got killed.
Yeah, and then died on the field.
So, let's
Eagles,
think.
2011.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
Or was Michael Vick the starter all that year?
I feel like 2011 was the year Michael Vick was the starter, got hurt. Cobb got hurt. Mike Vick played. Then Mike Vick got hurt. Then they played the Packers in the first round of the playoffs and got at home because they had won the East and got smoked. You're failing me.
I'm trying to. They went 8-8 that year.
I feel like that was the year though that Michael Vick was the starter.
I'm trying to figure it
I don't know. We digress. Who's David Cobb? He's talking right now.
out. Not Kevin
That's
Cobb. David Cobb.
That's what I said.
I know. It was a joke. We were just talking about Kevin Cobb.
Failure. All right, so she's looking that up. There's nothing but I think the Sixers want to sign these guys. I don't know if they will. Look,
Yeah, it was Vic.
I will tell you that Jimmy Butler is doing different things on the floor that people that don't actually watch basketball or are being blinded by this, they living and dying off every 76ers game are missing. Like that, people are saying he's disinterested. I fell into the trap until I realized he's making other types of hustle plays out there, even though he's not scoring. Yes, he wants to score more. Yes, he left without talking to the media yesterday.
I would have too. I'd have been annoyed.
I mean, you know what I mean? There was a lot of things going on there. But I think at the end of the day, if this team wins, if this team goes to the Eastern Conference Finals, if this team can somehow make it to the NBA Finals, I think all these guys are going to want to stay put and put the best product on the floor and try and win an NBA championship together.
Yeah. I think that maybe if people think Jimmy is disinterested, I think maybe the fact that, the Sixers are really trying to go out there and they are very clearly trying to win now. If everything that Jimmy said about, all he's ever wanted to do was win is true, I feel like he might be a little rejuvenated by this trade. I think that they are all very tired, especially after that long road trip, and they absolutely need this All-Star break to rejuvenate a little bit, rest, and just take a break for a week. And, they come back and open up against the Miami Heat
Is that their first game?
back after the All-Star break.
Your boy?
I don't know if he's playing. Not my all-star, Mr. Goran Dragic.
Not my all-star. Speaking of not my all-star, which is a wonderful shirt. Is it up? Maybe?
Yeah, that one's up. That's been
Okay.
up. I have it.
Shop.prosportsnotes.com. We've talked about this website a lot. We've gone back and forth. We've told you you can have t-shirts, pillows, mugs, notebooks, stickers, you name it. You can get things there. Okay, we are adding some new ones to the mix. We are adding.
Here, wait, I'll pull them up.
Okay, Jessica to pull them up. We decided to, for our friend Ben Simmons, who is an All-Star for the first time, and he's also the first Australian-born All-Star. If you can see that there, we will have that shirt available to you very soon, as well as, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, hashtag
Backwards,
Jackass.
But,
It does say the madness underneath of there, so it's not like you're just, and it's a conversation starter. Someone asks you, why are you wearing a shirt calling yourself a jackass? It's a terrible decision. You say, no.
it's
From
not
this
me.
awesome podcast I listen to, one of the hosts is a big fan of calling everybody jackasses and putting it on Twitter as hashtag Jackass.
It's a true story.
And the minute those shirts are up, I can tell you I'm buying myself one. Jesse, buying one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to buy myself an All-Star shirt, and I think we're going to do our first contest, Jess.
Oh, boy.
I think we're going.
Just so you know, it said that Goran Dragic is going to be out 8 weeks on December 19th, and the 8-week mark would be the first game back after the All-Star break
He
against
ain't
the
playing that one.
76ers.
He ain't playing that one. He knows you'll probably be there and be annoying. And, Donovan Mitchell.
He won't know because
look,
he's blocked me on Twitter.
Has he blocked you on Instagram?
No, I can still block him.
There you go. But shop.prosportsnotes.com, you can pick up all the old styles. We're mixing in some new ones. We also got some with Jess on there, okay? So you can get a shirt. Yes, there's shirts with my face now. There's shirts with Jess's face, too. We'll get them all up there. We're going to start doing some contests where we can, throw you a sticker or a notebook or a shirt.
Stickers, because if we're paying for them, we're doing stickers.
But every now and again, I'm going to, go out on the limb here. We'll get people a shirt, of your choice. Jackass, All-Star, you name it. Maybe you just want one of the old schools. Maybe you just want a shirt that says the madness. Whatever you want, we will do for you. Because that's what we are here. We're giving. We're a giving podcast. Okay? So make sure you get over to shop.prosportsnotes.com. Buy the merchandise. I'm even creating shirts for myself every now and again, Jess. I got a couple quarter zips coming. I'm a big quarter zip guy.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm ordering a couple quarter zips. I'll probably get here about April when we're no longer wearing quarter zips because
Right.
it's too warm. Typically, the way that's going to go.
I'm going to get myself a bathing suit for this one.
That's interesting. I'm curious of how that's going to be. Are you going to get yourself a bathing suit with you on it?
No, I was going to get one of the other
I said that.
I'm going to... Oh. You just gave me an idea.
Do I want to know this idea? You're tapping that pen.
Oh, I'm excited now. I've got an idea.
I need to know this idea.
So I found a website where you can make anything.
Okay.
Leggings, bathing suits, literally anything.
You can share this website with me?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but I'm gonna make Joe a bathing suit with me on it. But blocks of it, so it's
This is
like
a violation. This is a violation.
I got him a sweatshirt with me on it. He wears it a lot. It's not a violation because it's a cool sweatshirt. I showed you a picture of it, right?
The sweatshirt's not
Because the sweatshirt's
a
not over the
violation.
top.
The bathing suit I am calling stone cold violation of the bathing suit.
Nah, it'll be adorable.
The
The sweatshirt's not over the top at all. The sweatshirt's really
I
cute.
know, I just said that.
Because it's not too much, which I think is nice.
So I'm checking to see if we got anything else going on. No, there's nothing going on. By the way, how about Johnny Airport's getting there to see those guys getting off the plane there? Did you see that video?
Of course he did.
John
I'm
Clark
not
is
surprised
amazing with that.
he's climbing the wall at the... How'd he be climbing over the gates at the private airport? Oh my god. When he literally just held his arm up and played Keep Away from Anthony Davis, that's one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That and when he dunks without jumping.
Yes.
When he just puts the ball in and hangs on the rim like this. But he's on his 2 feet without moving. It's amazing.
So
I'm so excited.
let's talk about the Sixers going forward as we spent 45 minutes basically on this trade with other possible moves, with things we like to see happen. And then we'll get into the rest of the NBA and what has happened, what hasn't happened, what could happen. Let's start with, I wasn't home for it, but I recorded it and then saw people tweeting out about it. I think, what was it, Zach Lowe and Adrian Wojnarowski did a half-hour show today talking about the NBA trade deadline.
Yeah.
And obviously the Sixers were a topic of conversation. They spoke about this trade, but they also spoke about Markelle Fultz. And yes, the Sixers have kept a lot of things tight-lipped, but there have been a lot of reports that they are talking to teams about Markelle Fultz.
The teams have called about Markelle.
And you had heard the Magic
Suns.
and the Hawks and the Suns, and I saw Scoop, that Brant Scoopy put out today. Miami Heat might have has some interest in Markelle Fultz. Wojnarowski said, and I believe the quote was, there is a real chance, a very real chance, that Markelle Fultz has played his last game for the Sixers, which would lead you to believe he's got sources telling him there's a chance he gets traded. And it sounds like the Hawks and the Magic are kind of the two teams that are really in the conversations. Who, I don't know. I mean, because this is where I'm at. I know it's a frustrating situation, but you don't need to trade him. So you shouldn't just sell him for 50 cents on the dollar.
I feel the exact opposite.
To me, you control the situation with him. You have him under contract. Yeah, you want the cap space, but you're gonna want the cap space in June.
But I don't even think it's about cap space at this point. I think they're in such a win now mode that if there's someone out there that they are wasting a roster spot on Markelle for,
well, I agree with that.
That's where it's a problem.
They need to get something in return for the number one overall pick in the draft.
I absolutely agree. But if they trade him to the Magic, they might be able to get Terrence Ross.
That's one that I'm good with.
See, Joe and I just got into an argument about this on my way here. I was talking to him on the phone, and he's not okay with that. He thinks that we need to get some number one pick quality in return.
Terrence Ross is the athletic defensive wing that I've been yelling about.
We could absolutely use a Terrence Ross, and if we get a Terrence Ross in return for Markelle, I'm good enough with that because Terrence Ross helps us.
Well, I agree with you there.
Now. And
I
think we need a player in return. We need at least a player in return that we're
I
going
don't
to keep on the roster.
I don't want, and we'll get to this guy in a minute, but I don't want another Malachi Richardson, who is a guy that is going to probably see time in both the G League and NBA as he has for most of his career. I want a guy that I know can play 15, 16 minutes a game. I don't even need a scorer from Markelle Fultz's situation.
Somebody can play defense.
I need someone who can play defense. Now, I don't know if you'd be able to get this much, but if you've got a DJ Augustine and a Terrence Ross where you have a point guard so that TJ McConnell now can only play 5 minutes a game.
So I think I don't know how likely it is, unless they want to take Furkan Korkmaz off our hands too, and we'll give them 2 for 2 and it'll be fine. I'll live my life perfectly content. Oh, don't even get me started on Furkan Korkmaz. If I have never have to see him in a Sixers shirt ever again, I'll be...
Did I just curse?
I don't know. I didn't notice. It's fine.
If I did, I'm sorry. Wow.
I don't know. I wasn't listening to
That's
it,
a problem.
honestly. I was...
Is that a problem when you may have cursed and you have no recollection of it?
No, I do it a lot.
I mean, not just damn, I said the curse word of all curse words.
Okay, well, we're going to stop talking about it because now people are just going to go back and try to hear it.
Go back and hear it. Let me know.
But anyway,
tweet me at Philly_Madness.
I just think that if we can get, I feel like that's a dream to get those two for Markelle and Furkan. But if we can get, because it sounds like they're going to buy out Terrence Ross anyway. So Joe's point is, why not just get him for free then?
Well, you still need the roster.
But we need the roster spot. So why would you rather, I feel like there's a chance they buy out Amir Johnson. I feel like they almost should.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play anymore.
Because, and I get, having a veteran presence there to be there for the...
Milwaukee scored 50 points in the first quarter.
Against who?
The Wizards.
Oh, well, yeah. I could score 50 points against the
you
Wizards.
couldn't. No, you couldn't.
I don't know about that.
No,
but anyway. I'd be okay. I get keeping Amir for the veteran presence, helping some of the young guys, and just kind of you being that guy. But at the end of the day, again, if they are in this win now mode and Justin Patton's close to coming back. If they're planning on keeping him. If Zaire Smith
Well, he's close too. Justin
if
Patton's
Zaire
apparently
Smith
close,
is anywhere
right?
close to coming back, he's supposed to start playing in the G League next week or the week after in actual games. If he's close to coming back, we're going to need these roster spots, and we don't have room for an Amir Johnson, a Furkan Korkmaz, and a Markelle Fultz. And as sad as that makes me to say that about Markelle and to pretty much officially give up on Markelle, because I don't want to do it. It breaks my heart a little bit because it's not. I don't think it's the kid's fault. We've talked about.
I
this.
hope the kid makes it somewhere. I really do.
I do too. I really want him to make it somewhere and have an NBA career. I just don't think that that's ever going to be here. And I think at this point they've done right by him as much as they could. And I think that they're just kind of at their limit with him. Did you see Brett Brown's when he answered the question about him? That is the first time
everything.
I have ever seen Brett Brown get even remotely snippy to a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I've ever seen him kind of get a little agitated in his response to questions. And this is when listening to Brett Brown talk before games and after games.
Mm-hmm.
After games, Brett is always even keeled with the media. He's always very well spoken. He never freaks out or says anything ridiculous. He is always very on point with what he's saying, and he thinks everything through extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to this question, they asked if we were going to see Markelle Fultz maybe be an asset or a bench player down the stretch or in the playoffs. He went, well, when was the last time you saw Markelle play a game? And I was like,
yeah, it's not looking good. And that's
and then
why
Brett snapped right back and went back to himself and the way that he speaks. And that kind of answered every question.
Well, you hear that, and then you hear Woj's report today, and it makes you believe there's something in the works.
There's something in the works. And I just also, I'm really just sick of seeing him on the bench laughing and, I don't obviously have a good time, whatever. But it just, it bothers me so much because of the way that we traded with the Celtics to get there. We drafted him number 1, and now all of a sudden he's got this injury, that injury. Who knows what's going on? Is it the TOS? Is it his shoulder? Does he have to get a rib removed? Or is he all just up here? I think it's really all just up here, and he just needs a change of scenery, and I just really am, the fact that we are so invested in this win now mode, my patience are gone with it. If it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we were still dealing with the Joel injuries and the Ben injuries, and we're in that, and we're still, winning 28 games or less a year, that's okay. I can deal with it then, and I'd have the patience. But now, the organization has said to us, we are going for the NBA championship. So I don't have the patience anymore, and I don't think the organization should have the patience to waste a roster spot on Markelle Fultz, regardless if he's the number 1 pick or not.
Well, I agree. You're making great points, and I'm with you. To me, Terrence Ross is enough for me to make that trade. Okay, I make that trade 1-on-1. Bam, do it. It's over. It's done with. And now you got a defensive guy off the bench because I think Terrence Ross could be a really good defensive player for you. What are you reading there from Joe Johnson?
Relationship between Brett Brown and Lloyd Pierce could play heavily as it pertains to Markelle Fultz. Yeah, I just hadn't seen that one yet.
Now, see, there I'm a little more suspect because the names that have been thrown around from Atlanta are Dwayne Desmond. Who else were some of a couple of names that
I
had?
don't remember.
I want to see. I'm going to actually try and pull that up because I had looked at that a lot. And I wasn't crazy about the names. Atlanta Hawks. You talk for a minute.
I really don't know who from the Atlanta Hawks is available because everyone that plays for the Atlanta Hawks is relevant. So I really wouldn't. I mean, anybody there, I'd have to look into it a little bit more if anybody there could be that Terrence Ross caliber kind of person.
I mean, people have thrown around Jeremy Lin's name as a guy that could get traded. I don't want Jeremy Lin.
No, I don't want Jeremy
I don't want
Lin.
anything to do with Jeremy Lin.
I don't need.
But
we don't
need
a couple. Lin's sanity here.
There was Desmond, and I can't remember, and that's what I'm trying to find out the names. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Anyway, there's just no one that. I don't know. There's no one there that excites
Torian
me.
Prince is one of the names.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Now, once again, though, he fits that bill of that length on the wing.
So that we can deal. If there's someone that fits the bill of what we're looking for, is kind of that 3-and-D defender that we had in Justin Anderson that we decided to give up, and he didn't play very much anyway, which I could
Mhm.
never figure out. But I mean, is he available? Are they making him available?
Nah,
I'll take him
he
back.
can't stay healthy.
But anyway, yeah, I just think that
Literally,
you
this
know,
one
I'd be
website
okay with
down
that.
there has one of the first trades that makes it. Now, this was written, 13 hours ago, is Dwayne Dedman straight up for Markel Fultz. I don't know if you need to do that now because Dedman's a big man, and you kind of, I mean, if you do that now, you just have a plethora of big men.
This tweet says Tobias Harris posts a photo with only Joel Embiid. No Ben Simmons,
Oh,
JJ
yeah, but
Redick,
it's a joke.
Jimmy Butler. Is Harris already a bad teammate? Is he even more of a selfish jerk than Carson Wentz?
And then they give you like the half a number.
Yeah,
like they,
610, 632.
yeah, it's so awesome.
So funny.
What is this? Somebody
funny.
put this into the trade. Okay.
I hate those. People think 2K is real life.
Listen to
And
me.
it's not.
Listen to me. Listen
It's
to
not.
me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Everybody, listen to me.
Oh,
I'm putting this out here right now. The 76ers are not trading Jimmy Butler
oh my god.
after giving up what they gave up, which isn't a ton, but after only 30 games of the experiment. Get off your stupid jackass comments. Jimmy's not going anywhere right now. Does he leave in the summer? I don't know. I tend to believe he doesn't.
I hope not.
I tend to believe everything's fine. If not, we know who to blame it on. Miss, he came because of me. I met him in Greece. Obviously, you didn't sell the. You
My
know what?
mom last night looked at me and was like, "Do you feel like you and Jimmy Butler are best friends? Because every time I watch a Sixers game, I feel like we're watching one of your friends play basketball." And I was like, "Yes. Quite honestly, yes, I do. I consider us best friends." He works out at my high school all the time.
Oh, now he works out.
He
at the
does.
gym, too. Now
He
you
works
guys hang
out at the gym because he
Are you
lives-
still in high school?
I mean, my boyfriend still coaches there.
But you're
so
not-
I'm still invested.
I know that you only got out.
Sister goes
I
there.
know that you only got out 3 years ago, or whatever the hell it was with
It
your
was
young
fine.
ass. But
But either way, he lives in one of
Young
our
people.
a kid we graduated with. Their family owns a couple of.
that's what it says. He living in a rental property right now.
He's living in an apartment that it's an apartment building that we went to high school with.
I'd like to see him buy something. Make me
Friends
feel better.
who we went to high school with. Their parents have the whatever. But so he's living in one of those, which is right by my high school, which is why they just built a whole new gym.
Okay. Well, you got something?
No, we have dance competition next weekend, so schedule just came out.
No. Fair enough.
But yeah, so I do feel like I know him a little bit. But I mean, anyway, I do hope he stays. I really like the energy and tenacity that he brings. Did you see any of the clips of the interview he did on that one podcast talking about his time in Chicago?
No.
So I think watching it and everything that's come out about him and his personality makes so much sense
Mhm.
now. Basically, what it was is he was asking him sort of about these rumors that he's a bad teammate or this, that, and the other thing, and he was just saying, well, it kind of goes back to my time in Chicago. I got there and it was Derrick Rose's team, and it was me, Noah, and whoever else was there at the time, and he said, and the way that we were, everyone was 100% accountable for what they did. And if they missed their assignment, it was, hey, F you need to get that next time. Or what the heck are you,
Mhm.
but, always cursing at each other and screaming at each other. But that's, he grew into this culture of,
Yeah.
and he was there, one day, and he said someone, said that to Derrick Rose. And he was like, did you just talk to Derrick Rose like that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think you're doing right now? And then he realized this was the culture that they had. And so if he messed up, he expected somebody to yell at him that way because that's what happened. So the way he was brought up in the
Mhm.
NBA was you got yelled at and cursed at if you did the wrong thing, and that's just how he operated. So that's why he's hard on his teammates and calls them out immediately if they do something wrong, but also expects
And I don't
the same reaction to him.
Right, and I
So-
don't understand. Here's what I don't get about this city. I'm going to say,
Oh boy.
this fan base, not everyone, not all, but a majority, or at least the loud minority
There's
don't-
always that loud minority.
don't deserve good things like Jimmy Butler. Who cares that he's a prima donna? Who cares that he didn't talk to the media? Who cares that sometimes he looks disinterested? Guess what, everyone? I know we don't know this because we've been stuck in the goddamn process for so long, but the NBA, on every team, every single player has moments of disinterest. There are games where guys don't give a damn if they win or not in the
There's
regular
82
season.
games in a season.
They don't care.
I
They do
wouldn't
not
care. Guess
They
what?
do
I'm a
not care.
fan, and I don't care about every game.
Now, I got caught up this year because I was so excited, and I've watched, what do they play, 50-some-odd games? And I've watched 40 plus. I've
watched a lot.
I have not done that in years, and there are big
I
games.
was up for every single West Coast
The last,
game.
yeah, I've never done that.
Oh
the
my
last
God.
the last Atlanta Hawks game, I got irrationally irate after the game, and then after I went to bed and woke up next day, I said, "You got to chill. There's 82 games. Stop trying to make this a huge deal." Here's the deal: we haven't had a superstar since Allen Iverson, and guess what, folks? He did the same thing, and there was people who didn't like it. But if there was social media, it would be the same thing. All these people chirp. It's okay. Jimmy is not. Look, Jimmy's good. The money's going to talk to Jimmy, and winning is going to talk to Jimmy. So if they win,
And the Sixers will pay him a decent
and the
amount
Sixers
of
will
money.
pay him close to that max, if not that full max. Which Spike Eskin said today, and look, I've said this before. I love Spike Eskin. What he did with that Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is incredible. The guy is a mastermind in the radio business. But it's okay to disagree with these guys from time to time. He said today that if the Sixers gave him the 5-year, $190 million deal, it'd be the single worst deal in all of basketball. I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. And everyone's saying, "Oh, look, he's hurt already. He's wearing down." Stop. We are trying to make things more negative than what they actually are.
He's tired. I'm tired. I watch them and get tired. I can only imagine how tired they are. Think about the span of games that they just played. They just played on the West Coast. They played the Denver Nuggets. Then they played the Lakers. Then they played the Golden State Warriors. Then they played the Sacramento Kings. And keep in mind, the Kings and the Warriors play extremely fast basketball. Then they come home from the West Coast that they've been in for a week, have to deal with the jet lag, deal with all that crap, make sure they're hydrated, and then they have to play the freaking Toronto Raptors.
Let's talk about what happened, right? So right now they have 5 wins. They're 5-4 in this road, this stretch, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. They beat the Warriors. Unbelievable game. Everyone and their mother knew that they were set up for a letdown against the Kings.
Yeah.
And they were. And it doesn't help that the Kings are actually playing well. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
the
by
Kings
the
are playing
way,
really well.
that pick that everyone said, how could you give that to Boston, might not be a damn thing. Okay? So, the Kings beat them up pretty good. And they come home, and the question was asked on Postgame Live last night to Jimmy Lynam, who coached the NBA for years, about is it a real thing about your first game home on a West Coast trip? And he said it 100% of these. He goes, I know they had off 2 days. I get all that. But it's still a whole different thing. You've been out west for over a week. You're coming back here, and what do you get? The best team in the East.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have been up for it. Yeah, I don't like their effort. Yeah, I don't think Brett Brown did enough to enforce that on those guys. See, I can criticize Brett, guys. I don't want him fired every game like you idiots, but I can criticize Brett.
You also have to keep in mind, they were down J.J. Redick, down Wilson Chandler, so they had to start Landry Shamet
Right.
and Mike Muscala
Now, here's
again.
the deal. On Friday, are they going to play these 3 guys? They got to play these guys,
I don't
right?
think so.
How do you not, though?
They said that they're not sure if they're going to play him.
What are you going to do? You're going in there with nothing.
Especially if they trade Markel tomorrow. I mean, obviously he's not much anyway, but if they trade Markel and possibly Furkan.
Shaq Milton is hurt, so he ain't coming to play.
His name is Shake.
I call him Shaq
Why? His name is Shake.
because I don't care. I'm not calling him a grown man Shake. His first name is not Shake.
Okay, well, his name is Shake Milton.
He's going to be Shaq Milton now.
Are they going to play Haywood Highsmith? Probably not.
I mean,
Jonah will get some more time.
Jonah,
They don't
like
have
your start. Let's just talk about who their starters could be. If they're not going to play those guys,
Jonah.
Jimmy, Joel, Ben,
Jonah.
Furkan,
No,
or
JJ.
TJ.
JJ.
or JJ if he's playing. Okay,
He should play. He was nauseous.
So then your bench,
He had nausea.
then your bench is TJ, Furkan,
Amir.
Amir.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're
They
going
have
to run
to-
with those 8.
They have to.
You're
play.
already on a 2-game losing streak. And Denver is good.
Yeah, you need to.
Denver's a good team.
They didn't play.
They didn't play anybody against them there.
Yeah, Joel didn't play.
Joel
right?
didn't play. Jimmy didn't play. Wilson
Jimmy was
didn't play.
still hurt, right.
All 3 guys.
But Jimmy
didn't play.
Butler. Let's talk about it. Jimmy Butler was in LA to see a wrist specialist, where the team was about to play. Jimmy Butler hopped on a flight, flew to Denver, just to get on a plane that night or the next morning to go back to LA to be with his teammates,
Mhm.
to be on the bench with the team. I don't want to hear anything about how Jimmy Butler's a bad teammate. Stop it.
Just stop.
Stop
I mean,
it.
people just don't want
I'm
it to
sick
work.
of it. Stop it.
I don't care if he's a prima donna. I really don't. I really don't. Most stars in the NBA are. Kevin
Yes.
Durant is a prima donna.
Yes.
LeBron
Did you hear what
James
Kevin
is a,
Durant said today?
is a prima donna. These
He
guys are all
expected
prima
to be
donnas.
treated as the best player after beating in the NBA after
Yeah,
beating
when he
LeBron.
went to a frickin' all-star team to beat him.
K,
You jackass.
K,
No,
and
I-
LeBron. Don't even get me
I
started.
am really,
on LeBron.
I am really trying to
Don't
start
even get me
sell my
started on
shirts, aren't I?
LeBron.
I've said jackass about 10 times today.
Yeah.
Shop.prosportsnotes.com. LeBron, did you see the bench when he was sitting 5 seats away from the
know.
rest of the bench? And by the way, I don't do this often for other teams' fan bases. You know who this is for?
The Pacers.
This is for the Indiana fan base. Well done with the chance. First of all, it's great that LeBron's going to trade you for Brandon Ingram. But you know what my favorite one was?
JaVale McGee.
When JaVale McGee goes on, they said, not worth trading.
Yeah, that was good. I just
It's
really, I mean, think about that report that came out. This is what I'm saying. The fact that Elton Brand was able to keep that stuff in-house until it was official and they were actually being sent is great.
Mhm.
Because think about how Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Michael Beasley, Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson must all feel the fact that LeBron and Magic are just don't care. They're trying to have a starting 5 of what, AD and LeBron?
It's probably why they lost by 42 the other night.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just oh so sweet because LeBron couldn't get
Well-
LeBron decided to go there because he wanted to play with young talent.
Yeah.
And
I criticize, but I commend. Spike Askin was on to something back in the summer. He said, I don't know if you want all that LeBron drama. He dictates rock.
no, granted, I think it might have been a little bit different because Ben and Joel are
but I'm just saying.
big step up.
I'm just saying he does have a point that LeBron wants to,
Oh,
and,
sure.
and maybe he gets pissed at a couple of these other guys. You know what I mean?
I think we definitely, I was upset when it happened, but I think we absolutely dodged a bullet letting LeBron get his hands on this roster, and instead he can go out there and, play with, LeVar Ball,
By the way,
Franklin the Turtle, and the gluten-free Brandon Ingram, gluten-free Kevin Durant.
they were
Brandon
interesting
Ingram.
names.
Have you ever noticed that Rajon Rondo looks like Franklin the Turtle?
It's a good point. Now that you say it.
And Brandon Ingram was just a gluten-free Kevin Durant.
Oh. You really,
Off-brand Kevin Durant.
you really
With
like that.
bad hair. Worst hair in the NBA by far. Awful. Those braids, bad look. Bad. Absolutely bad.
Don't you love when he dunked on Corey Brewer and on
And laughed and then they lost.
and,
was my
when they were
favorite.
down 25 points?
Yeah. Idiots.
So let's just see what happens. You got any predictions on the Sixers? Do they do anything else? Is it all buyouts from this point on?
I think they're going to trade Markelle Fultz.
You think you're going to trade Markelle
I
Fultz?
think they're going to trade Markelle
I think you're going to trade Markelle Fultz. I did want to talk about one thing, and I'm a little disappointed because before we started to record this, I got some information that maybe it's not as much of a done deal as I thought maybe it could have been.
What?
Wayne Ellington is getting traded to the Phoenix Suns, and then he's getting bought out or waived by the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, I've been pounding the pavement. You know this for Wayne
Want to
Ellington.
know a fun fact about Wayne Ellington? So he went to Episcopal Academy, right?
Mhm.
So did
With Gerald Henderson.
Do you know who was also a member of their starting 5 there?
Is he in the NBA?
The offensive line coach at GA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm about to see that you got connections everywhere. So, by the way, if Wayne Ellington signs here,
I
he
know. I was like, I
he's
said
on
to
the
Joe,
show.
I was like, I'm going to need Iz to
yeah,
help me out there.
yeah. I am still pounding the pavement. Like, the minute he gets waived or bought out or whatever it is, the Sixers have got to be on the phone and try and talk him into coming here. I know his preferred destination is the Lakers. I know he spent a couple years there and he liked his time there. But my God, Wayne Ellington is the guy. That guy that could come off the bench, and when you sub him in for Tobias Harris or when you sub him in for whoever, you don't lose any offense. The guy can come in and just straight stroke. And it's been a long time. I have wanted a Tar Heel on this team that I can really get behind for a long time. They're making me root for Dookies and J.J. Redick and all this stuff. Let me root for a damn Tar Heel.
What is your connection to the Tar Heel?
I'm a huge Tar Heel fan.
Why? Is there any reason?
Just when I started watching college basketball as a young kid. There was
I
no
didn't know. I just didn't know.
No. It was one of those things where, you know, when you start watching a sport, the team that I immediately attached myself to was the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I don't even know, you know what it is? Honestly, my first memory, and I probably watched them a little before that, but my first memory was watching them play the Fab Five and rooting for the Tar and like thinking it was so funny that Chris Webber called the timeout to lose the national championship game. And I think it probably stemmed off I always hated Duke. And if you hate Duke, you know, you kind of...
Right.
But you think, when I was growing up, when I was young and I started watching college basketball, you're talking Vince Carter, you're talking... was it Mashburn was there? There were so many guys that came through. Like, I wasn't young enough for Jordan, but it was kind of that next group that came through, you know, the North Carolina that really... And then it really tied into... you know, the later years when they started to win some championships under Roy Williams and stuff like that. So
okay, I didn't know if there was. Yeah.
No. There's and people always say, "Oh, you're a front runner." I say, "You call me what you want." I know that I've been rooting for North Carolina since I started watching what college basketball was, and they don't win a championship every year, and I'm always still right there pulling for them and hoping they win another one.
Did you see what Steve Kerr said?
What is Steve? Which line? Was it mocking the Patriots about?
No, when they asked if he was going to arrest anyone tonight, and he goes, no loads will be managed here.
He's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy.
I don't mind him anymore.
I love Steve
And now
Kerr.
the Sixers
He's
went in there and
hilarious.
won. I don't mind him even more.
I just think he's funny. He has some one-liners in there that are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
I
the one
can't
about
get-
the Patriots was funny too.
I can't get enough of this Tobias Harris video of him running up and down the steps with Boban filming and playing
Is
the
it
Eye of the
Tobias
Tiger.
running or?
Oh, it's Tobias running.
I didn't know which one it was running.
As it says, Tobias Harris is ready. And Boban
He's running
is
up and down like 4 hotel steps.
4 hotel steps, but they're playing the Eye of the Tiger in the background.
It's amazing.
I love these guys already.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Have you seen my favorite?
They're our new Dario and TJ probably.
Maybe.
Dario,
My
excuse me.
favorite video of them so far is the one where they're talking about Soul Cycle. They had like an off day or something, and Boban called Tobias Harris in the morning and said, I want to go to Soul Cycle. And he's like, no, this is about rest and recovery today. We're not going and doing anything. So he's like, so I get up out of bed like the best friend that I am, and we go to Soul Cycle. Well, they get there, and they don't have a size 20. So they're like, he's like, you mean to tell me that a 7'4" human isn't coming in here every day? So you need to have a size 20? And he goes, so that's why Bobby's upset. And then he flips the camera to me and goes, don't worry, Bobby, we'll just go get you some ice cream. And then they go get ice cream. And it's hilarious. They're adorable. They're adorable.
Bobby and Toby and the Bobo and JoJo show. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. I'm so excited.
It's like a full-on... did you see my tweet about every Sixers game is going to look like the episode of The Office where they play basketball in the warehouse?
Yes. It's a great episode.
Hilarious.
Okay. Wayne Ellington is the one guy I would... If there's one guy, it's Wayne Ellington 1, it's Wesley Matthews 2 when it comes to the buyout market. Do you have any names that you're looking at that you would love to see on the Sixers by the end of the trade deadline / the buyout market, which will start afterwards?
I would really like to see Terrence Ross on the Sixers.
Yeah. From a defensive standpoint.
He's hit a couple game winners, too.
Yeah, he's hit a couple game winners.
He's been playing really well this season.
Wasn't he the one when they had the huge comeback against the Sixers in Jimmy Butler's first game? Or
Yeah.
that hit the game winner?
Yeah.
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 I thought so. I thought that was Terrence.
He went off that game. He was
Terrence
hitting shots
Ross-
from everywhere. He
Did
played
he
for the
go for-
Raptors.
Yeah, but college. Was he Florida State?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I
him.
thought he was somewhere like more important in the basketball world than Florida State.
He probably was, but I gotta figure this out because
Like one of those guys that
follow.
like
No,
went
I don't want to follow. I want.
went to one of those like important basketball schools, but like is completely irrelevant to the basketball school now.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard it.
I just want to make sure you knew what I was picking up what I was putting down.
Hey, you know, Jess, it's kind of like ESP with you now. Like I just know. Like you don't even
Are
tell
you
me.
not? Are
anymore.
you really struggling to find this right now?
Shut up, Jess. I didn't type in college. I was trying to do the player card. I was trying to have
That's
fun with it.
stupid. Why'd you do that?
Yo. Profile. Load. Info. No one's talking about that. Washington. He went to Washington.
Okay, so no. See, okay, no, I don't want him anymore. I lied. I don't want him anymore. I don't want it. Nope, nope. I take it back. Nope, nope,
She
nope.
hasn't had enough of her Huskies.
Nope,
She hasn't had enough of her
Done,
Huskies.
done.
I'll
with-
still take him.
Done with players from Washington coming to Philly.
I will totally still
Done.
take him.
I don't care what
You
sport
wanna
it
know
is.
what's interesting? I
Done.
don't know if it's when you type Terrence Ross in, the second thing that comes up on Google search,
Terrence Ross Sixers.
Terrence Ross Sixers.
Because I'm not the first person to say it. Everyone. That's like
Did
one of
Nico
those-
Mirotic go to Utah?
I don't think so. I don't
He's another guy I wouldn't mind them going after.
Yeah, they apparently they put him and Julius Randle on the trade block.
9 hours ago, the Sixers have interest in Nikola Mirotic,
Again, if
Terrence
they'll,
Ross, and Wesley Matthews per Sporting News.
and if they'll any of them will take Furkan Korkmaz and Markel Fultz for one of them, I'm done. Bye.
58. See, this, I would hate this. 58 minutes ago, this was sent out. Potential packages 76ers could swap for Jalen or Dedmon if they traded with Atlanta, who is interested. Or Orlando, which I would ask about the price of Vucevic. But if not, they're likely to ask for Terrence Ross from Orlando for Fultz, active 3-and-D guy off the bench. 3 hours ago, the Sixers really... Oh, no, that's just some weirdo. he's a nobody. He's basically me. I feel like this Terrence Ross thing just makes too much sense to not happen.
Yeah, it does.
He would be...
I'm upset about the
Perfect.
Washington thing though.
Yeah,
That upsets
Jimmy
me.
Butler's debut and the Sixers' bets are spoiled by a 20-0 run and a Terrence Ross 3.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah, so he did do that. I think
I
that's...
remember that. It was in Orlando and it was ridiculous.
I think that's the move they should make. I think they should go after Terrence Ross and do whatever it takes to get him here. I think that would be... So I'm big on the Wayne Ellington, Terrence Ross. If by some chance it's later and Wesley Matthews gets bought out, obviously I would love to add Wesley Matthews to this bench. These are the guys I want to see coming off the bench. It's guys like this.
Oh, we just got really excited up in here.
Because this is
I wasn't ready for
when
that.
when we
Sorry.
go to the bench, these are the guys I want to see coming.
Oh, 100%.
Even a Mirotic, I would love to see come. Now, I think it would cost too much to try and get him. I just don't think they're going to get him.
They
And I
wouldn't
want
be
to
able to get him
see
for Markel.
somebody I thought tweeted out that he went to Utah, and I wanted before I'm talking about him. Let's see.
I didn't. Excuse me. I didn't think I saw that.
That's a jerk move.
But what?
Yeah, see, that's true too. Jamie Lynch put this out. If you can get Ellington and Matthews in the buyout phase, that's also excellent.
Yeah.
5 hours ago, someone did put out that Mirotic is getting a lot of attention from Bucks and Sixers. Wouldn't be shocked if others are as well. I don't know, but I don't know. See, I don't know what kind of pieces. I don't know how much they could trade. Like Terrence Ross makes sense because you have Fultz. If they have interest in Fultz, bam, we just make the deal. We
One
move
for
both
one,
guys.
and it's fine.
Okay, they don't have the pieces. Excuse me, to go out there and get a Mirotic, I don't think. So that's why that doesn't make
No,
much sense.
and I
to me.
don't, and anything that they would require would just kind of undo what we just did
Yeah.
and take away from what we're building up. Like we have built it up to here, and
Right.
that would just set us back
Yeah.
down to here.
I'm just so glad that when we go to the bench, we don't have to look at Mike Muscala come in. The hope is that they get enough pieces so I don't have to look at Kyle Korkmaz.
Who the hell is Kyle Korkmaz? I don't even know what that means.
Kyle Korkmaz, I think is
don't-
where I made the mistake. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's a bad.
Furkan! I don't have to look at Furkan. I can only look at Jonah a little
Did you
bit.
cringe as hard as I did every time he came on the floor last night?
I cringe whenever they went to the bench.
Every time Furkan
Whenever it
was on, I
wasn't the
was just
starters.
Like, oh no.
Whatever it was.
Okay, Jonah Bolden. I really like Jonah
Yeah,
Bolden.
but he didn't play much last night.
No, he didn't. I feel like he should have played more. But I think he got 4 fouls in 2 minutes, like he usually does, which is his problem. He needs to figure that out. But I like Jonah Bolden. I think the fact that he can shoot the three, he can get you down low, he can also defend really well. You saw him block KD's shot.
That was awesome.
That was insane. There was a camera.
You know what was my favorite play in that shot, and this is how I will remember him. Landry Shamit's chase down block, back into the play, bang the three,
yeah, that was
and
good.
one. And what I loved about all that was a game, right? People were talking about how disinterested Jimmy was. On that play, Jimmy dives out of bounds to save the ball to Ben Simmons to get that whole thing rolling. Just putting that out there.
Because Jimmy Butler's a hustle guy.
You know what? I like it. All right, where do we want to go next? We want to keep talking NBA? Want to move to some of the other topics that around the city?
If we're going, 90 minutes, we're, nearing the end here.
We'll probably go more than 90 if you think about it.
Well,
the Super Bowl could take about 30 seconds. It was boring. It sucked. The Rams didn't deserve to be there. The Rams shouldn't have been there. Boy Genius got out-coached. He sucks too. Yeah. I'm done.
Okay. You sound less like a 12-year-old. That's great. Thanks.
Nope.
I will say that probably could not have gone better for an Eagles fan. That was the absolute perfect, perfect Super Bowl for an Eagles fan. Because Tom Brady... Would you like me to...
Everybody see that? Everybody see it? That says final. That's what a Super Bowl looks like. Right there. That's what a Super Bowl looks like. Not 13-3 crap when you're supposed to have the dynamic, genius offense.
I will tell you, though, one of my coworkers, his dad, put $200 on a block pool.
He had 3 and 3, didn't he?
He had 3 and 3 and won $17,000.
I hate him.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't even
Except
know
there were 3 of them that went in on it, so 3 of them went in on the 200, so they split it 3 ways, but still. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I hate him.
I was like, wow, that's awesome. But anyway.
I'm a hater, so that's...
I know. That's because you're a better and I'm not. So.
I won $200 for the Super Bowl. I was happy.
The fact that the Rams lost to Tom Brady in Tom Brady's worst Super Bowl, and the fact that the Eagles beat Tom Brady in his best Super Bowl is one of the best things.
His best, and maybe his best game ever.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if someone, I tweeted that.
I saw that. That was ridiculous.
That tweet that blew up the way it did.
The way the people came at you.
People came at me like, "Well, are we not gonna give any credit to the Rams defense?" No. We're not. Did you see that game? That was not a defensive game. Anyone who knows anything about football knows that was not a defensive game, even remotely. That was crap offense. That was absolute garbage offense. I've never seen Tom Brady throw so many balls at the ground or behind receivers. He threw so many balls so far behind receivers, they were behind the defenders as well. Like, they weren't even spots for picks.
It was an ugly game.
It was abysmal. Jared Goff looked like a deer in the headlights. And honestly, I don't have anything against Jared Goff. I hate the constant comparison between him and Carson Wentz.
Well, it's going to happen for the next 15 years. It's going to happen forever.
I don't have anything against the kid. Honestly, I felt kind of bad that he looked as scared as he did. But I mean, I want to talk about how unbelievably arrogant Sean McVay is, thinking he could go into the Super Bowl, not make any adjustments when Bill Belichick had 2 weeks to prep.
Did he say it in the press conference?
He said, I got out coached. We thought we could just not make any adjustments and play our game and be fine. No, because that's what the Patriots do best. Are you dumb?
That's what Rain Man normally does. Rain Man doesn't
Are you
think,
dumb?
Rain Man can remember things from 6 years ago, but Rain Man can't do what it takes to win the championship on that stage, and maybe he learns from the next time.
So,
Real quick
next
though.
time.
Real quick though.
I've seen this same play.
Yeah. Jared Goff. You want to know when I knew he was rattled?
When he walked onto the field and they showed his face.
When the national anthem was playing, did you by any chance see him when they put the camera on him?
He looked like a deer in the
headlights.
headlights.
Yeah, but no, did you notice anything?
No, I wasn't paying that close of attention.
This is what he was doing with his fingers, the whole national anthem. Now, some people might say he was amped up. No. Between that and the look on his face, I said,
he looked
this
scared.
Kid is scared.
And when they ran out, when I knew that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl? when the doors opened to the locker room and they walked out on that field. When they walked out behind Malcolm Jenkins, Brent Selleck, and Fletcher Cox, and one of the last people on that field was Nick Foles, and the look in his eyes.
Yeah, he was very calm and poised.
I knew they were winning the Super Bowl. They did not look even remotely rattled or shaken.
Yeah, my nervousness did not allow me to believe that at that point.
Oh no,
looking back,
I saw the image of them on the jumbotron as they opened the doors, and I saw the look in Malcolm, Brent, and Fletcher's eyes, and I looked at my mom and I went, "They're not losing this game." I was
How
like,
about
"Mom,
the fact that
they are
Patriots won
not
with Crazy
losing this
Train
game."
2 years in a row? They did Crazy Train again. They came out to Crazy Train again this year.
Well, they do their typical entrances. They let the team. So what I didn't
Yeah, but
realize.
the Eagles didn't do their typical entrance. The Eagles didn't come out to Meek Mill all year.
But the song that they play when they open the
Yes.
So what I will say is what I did not realize is the Super Bowl, they let every team like do their thing.
Right.
So
Well, if you hear on defense, they all do like, did you hear the big horn every time they go on defense? That's what New England does
right.
and all that.
So that's the thing. So when the Eagles were in they played the Rocky video. The Rocky video that they
Okay.
play before they played it at the
That's
Super
cool.
Bowl.
That's cool.
They, the music starts, they open the door, and they, come out to the AC/DC song, and then they came out to,
Meek. Dreams and Nightmares.
yeah, they came out to Dreams and Nightmares. But then the same thing, they did, they played the Eagles fight song after every touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Heard that.
The third down, like Arby's We Have the Meats music that they freaking use for every third down on defense.
Yes.
They played at the Super Bowl. Like they kept
Yeah, they
everything
do it for the teams. Yeah, absolutely.
which I thought was really, really awesome.
Yeah, it is cool that they
But
do
the
that.
Patriots are lame, so they're
But
not nearly
it
as
was
cool.
it was a terrible Super Bowl. But you for me being a sportsman, I had to watch to the end because it was in doubt all the way to the end. So you had to kind of watch it all the way through. I did have a couple bets that I was following as well. But at the end of the day, and I said this to somebody yesterday, I said, I think because the Eagles won last year, it kind of took away my hatred. It didn't take away my
we
hatred.
talked about this on the show,
Yeah.
and I know exactly what
But
you're talking
I've learned to appreciate the greatness that we've witnessed since 2001
Sure.
or 2003, whatever the year was with this group. And the fact that a coach and a quarterback with roster changes galore
every year.
have won 6 Super Bowls, have been to 9 out of 16. And I think there was even a stat on the either Peyton, Roethlisberger, or Brady has been the quarterback of an AFC team in the last 16 Super Bowls.
It's crazy.
If you think about it, if you went through it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of any other team from the AFC that has been there since, since the Ravens. So no, that's right. There was one, Joe
Ravens,
Flacco,
Joe
and
Flacco, when
that
they
was the
played-
only one in that
when they played
combined
the-
time, because Roethlisberger's been in 3 because he was in the one against Seattle, he was in the one against Arizona, and he was in the one against Green Bay. The one against Arizona that he won, the one against Seattle that he won, and then the one against Green Bay that he lost.
Yeah.
Manning played the Saints. Manning played the Bears,
And then he
Manning
was the quarterback
played
of those two
the
Broncos
Seahawks,
teams.
and and Carolina.
Yeah.
So there's 4, and all of them were 2000s. It said after 2000.
And that was 7, and Brady's been in 9. So
Yeah.
that's 16.
Yeah, 4-3. So that's 16. So there's been 17 Super Bowls, I guess now,
So
or
yes,
there's been
it's-
19. There's been 19 in the 2000s, but 17 of the 19
That's
Super
crazy.
Bowls since 2000, Roethlisberger, Brady, or Breeze has been, or not Breeze,
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning has been the quarterback.
That's crazy. But
That's crazy.
and,
When does Tom retire? When does Tom
I have
step
no
down?
idea.
Does he play again next year?
well, I think part of the reason that he feels so invincible every year is the fact that they always play their best football in December, and he doesn't get touched from December on. So he's playing all these games, and he's like, I feel like Superman.
Yeah.
He did get touched a little bit more.
Or
than
does he
football,
feel
but-
invincible because he wears T-shirts with saying he loves his wife on them?
Oh my God, we should get off of that for 5 minutes.
I love my wife.
You want to know? Okay, as much as I hate his smug little face.
You want to know my favorite thing ever that he's done?
No.
Oh.
Do you want to know my favorite thing that happened from their parade, which there was a lot of messed up stuff, but did you see the little video of Gronk on one bus and Tom on a different bus with his kids? And Gronk goes, "Hi, Tom." And Tom goes, "Hi, Gronky." And then he says to his daughter, he goes, "Hi, Vivi." And she goes, "Hi, Gronky." It's the cutest little thing. And that's the only thing. I was like, I hate him so much, but this is adorable.
No, the only thing that I've ever liked that Tom Brady's done, other than win me money in the Super Bowl.
Make out with Robert Kraft.
Oh my God, why does he keep making out with people that he shouldn't make out
Okay, do
with?
you want to know the funniest part of this? So one of my coworkers, her husband is a huge Patriots fan, born and raised up in New England, but Boston fan through and through.
Right.
But raised there, not one of, totally acceptable.
Fair.
He, so they have 2 kids, and he buys them Patriots stuff every year for Christmas. And one year he bought her these socks. They're Patriots socks, and she wore them, and they won like a couple Super Bowls or whatever. And they were lucky that she refused to wear the socks last year. He continuously blames her for that Super Bowl loss because she didn't wear the socks, because I begged her not to wear the socks.
Good job by you.
I know. So this year, by the AFC Championship game, she was like, "I know you love football, and I hate to say this to you, but I can't wait for football to be." She was like, "I'm so sick of it. I can't deal with this anymore this year." And one of my other coworkers lives next door to them in a townhouse development, and she can hear him through the walls.
Oh yeah, of course you can.
So she's like, "Oh my God." So she said to her husband, "I don't care where you watch the game as long as it's not here. Like, I want you gone."
Fair enough.
So I'm texting her because I was like, "Oh my God, you see the Backstreet Boys commercial?" We freaked out. We got very excited. Love the Backstreet Boys. But she then texts me after the game and goes, "Oh my God," we had already left Xfinity. Goes, "Oh my God, who was that old woman that Tom Brady just kissed on the mouth?" And I was like, it was probably his mom. Like, their
She called Robert Kraft an old lady.
I was like, it was probably his mom. That they're mouth kissers in that family. It's super weird. So then I get on Twitter and I see the video and I text her and I'm like, "Oh my God, that wasn't his mom or anybody. That wasn't an old one. That's the owner of the Patriots." So we're laughing. It's funny. Ha ha. It's all over social media. Whatever. So then life continues. And we're talking about this, and I was like, "Well, have you seen the video of him open mouth kissing his son?" And she was like, "What are you talking about?" So I was like, "Hold up." So I had to send her the video, right?
That won our hate bracket.
Had to send it to her. She then sends me a screenshot. She texts her husband, "Do you kiss all your friends because Tom Brady mouth kisses everyone when he comes into contact with?" And he goes, "Yes." She goes, "I feel like that's an honest answer." He goes, "It is. Did someone tell you to ask me that?" She goes, "No, I texted you last night to ask who that old woman was that he was making out with, and it turns out to be the owner of the Patriots, and there are articles about how that's his thing. So I was curious to know if that's something you actively do, because Tom does." So she's like, "Oh my God, I feel like he's not kidding."
I can't
So
pick
she
my head
goes,
up right now.
"Can you just try his special diet like a normal weirdo?" He goes, "I would like to try it." She goes, "Okay. Half of that diet's protein powder anyway. It's unnatural. Like mouth kissing your 11-year-old son for 15 minutes. He goes, "It wasn't that long. Calm down." And she goes, "This conversation isn't going well."
Oh my God.
So then I proceeded to post that
I
poll.
hate Patriots fans.
I proceeded to post that poll on Twitter. Did you see my poll? Research question. Anyone who's a Patriots fan, do you also mouth kiss everyone
Yes,
you
I
know? Because
did see
Tom
that.
Brady does it. Well, there were a lot of people. The final results were 65 votes. Or I think it was, 65 votes. 15% said yes. Well, then her husband went and followed me on Twitter just to vote for himself on yes and upped it 1 vote that way. And I was like,
I hate you,
so
New England fans.
she's frighteningly disturbed right now.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady open mouth kisses his boss
Yeah.
and his family, all of them.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
But anyway, the only thing I've ever liked that Tom Brady did, it's not that, was after they won the AFC Championship game. Oh my God, the video him and Gronk put out with the "We ain't going nowhere" in the background.
I've seen you since then. We talked about that.
We've seen each other since then.
Yes, we did. That was 2 weeks ago. It's only been a week. We took 1 by week. But yeah,
That's
that
my
was
favorite
funny.
thing.
It was funny.
What's not my favorite thing is the way he talked to his daughter when he was being interviewed after the game. No, not you, honey. Not you, me. Listen, you jerk. What did Nick Foles do? She loves that mic. She has no idea. Much cuter, much better
Did you
father
ever
than you,
notice that
Tom.
Tom Brady didn't bring his kids up on stage until Nick Foles did it?
Never noticed how Tom Brady made sure he shook everybody's hand this year and not last year. All right, we're moving on. Real quick. Reports today, Phillies have re-engaged in talks for JT Realmuto, the catcher from Miami. The latest before we came on was that they need Sixto Sanchez to be a part of
is
it.
a requirement.
And guess what? I don't care. This is ridiculous.
Do it.
The guy has arm issues, guys. He may not ever turn out to be anything. I don't have time to wait to see what he could become.
Don't Markel Fultz me.
You have a chance to get a catcher who can hit for the next, and he's on, by the way, very friendly contract. And then still go out and sign me one of my first guys, please. Please. Bryce. Although, did you see today? Bryce is cleanly shaven out of nowhere.
That's weird.
Yeah, you want to know why it's weird? Because you have to be cleanly shaven to play for one franchise in Major League Baseball. It's the New York Yankees. They not allow you to have a beard. And I'm a little concerned.
I don't like that.
In the same couple of days span when Judge said, we'll make it work when asked about signing Bryce Harper and having to change the position. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Phillies, give him $400 million.
Honestly, it's going to hurt
get
so
his
much
ass in
more
here.
because it's been so drawn out.
Yeah, I just am so pissed off that whole thing.
Anyway, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, everything that happened we expected.
Well, here's the one hiccup.
Why?
The CBA
Yes, I saw this. Yeah.
clearly states that if you franchise tag a player, you must have the best intentions to employ the player. So
Yeah, but here's what I ask you.
But it worries me if there's going to be some issue there now.
Well, here's the way I look at it. How they police that, the only way that they can police that is if the player files a grievance. If there's a back door meeting and a back room agreement where Nick says, look, you guys have been great to me. I want to go somewhere to start. If you work with me on a team, we could do this together. I'm not going to file a grievance. That's the only way you franchise tag him. If you don't have that backroom agreement, then you can't franchise tag him. You just can't do it. So, whatever. I'm also not, I'm of the Ike Reese mindset. I don't care where Nick Foles goes. Yeah, would it suck to see him in a Giants uniform or a Redskins uniform?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, it would. But guess what? As Ike said, you know Nick Foles better than anybody, which means you know his strengths, you know his weaknesses, you know what you could do to try and contain him, stop him. I also think Nick has been playing with house money. I think you saw Nick in the last couple of games be the Nick that he typically is.
Yeah.
You can rattle him, okay? So I'm not concerned where he goes. I don't want them to get in trouble, but if they come up with some sort of an agreement and they're both okay with it, you know, then
I hope so, but the way these reports came out, it made it seem like
they're being watched.
yeah.
Yeah. Is that Jalen Brunson?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Because they traded away half of their roster for a guy who's not going to play this year.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun next year when you got Luka Doncic
I'm excited to
and
see it.
Kristaps. Kristaps Porzingis.
That's a big ACL that needs recovering.
Yeah. So, I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm not even worried about, honestly, I'm not worried about the Nick Foles thing. I'm more worried about, okay, now the season's over. I'm going to start doing some draft work. We're going to, you know, within a month start talking about the draft. I mean, think about it. Oh, my God.
My lord.
Sorry. Free agency starts what?
My lord!
Free agency starts what? The middle of
March 5th?
Is it the beginning of March?
I don't know. I saw something March 5th. Oh, I think the franchise tags need to be placed by March 5th.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Something
not
like
it's not
that.
far away.
Something's March 5th. I don't know what.
You know,
it is.
look, I think for the
Not-
next couple of weeks we're going to be heavy Sixers. I think next week we're going to talk about all the fallout of the trade deadline. By then, this 12-game stretch is going to be coming to a close because we got to go early next week with our recording. So,
Possibly not.
oh, things have changed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We might do Friday instead. Because I forgot.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll figure all that out. But regardless, we'll talk about the fallout of the 12 games that we said they got to win 6 or 7. They're one win away from that. They have winnable games, in my opinion. The next 3 are at home in Denver. These are the last 3.
Yeah.
The last 3, Denver, L.A., and Boston.
And then they
in
play
my,
the Knicks, and then they're done for
Yeah.
the All-Star break.
Yeah, in my
The Knicks are
opinion,
irrelevant.
out of those three, you got to win two of them. And I am a firm believer. I am a firm believer that one of those wins, for me to be totally like if they win the next two and then lose the last one and they go 7-5, okay, I'm happy you made it through the stretch at 7-5. But I am not really thoroughly happy
I want them to beat Boston.
unless Boston is one of those wins. I'm not asking them to win all three of these. If they were to say win Friday night, lose Sunday, and then beat Boston the following Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is, I'm okay with that.
I would really like to beat LeBron.
I would love to beat LeBron, and they might
They
still
could win
beat
all
LeBron.
three. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be
If you do
fantastic.
that, I would love that. Thank
But
you.
we'll talk about all that fallout. And then we'll start getting into free agency talk, stuff like that. Once we start getting ourselves back to the studio a little bit more, we'll get more guests. I know you're working on a couple. I know I made a contact today that I'm going to continue to try and get, especially maybe we can get him for next week's show because he's an NBA guy. A couple other things I want to talk to you about. Remind me when we go off air.
Okay.
One, this is madness for me this week.
I got one too.
Go ahead. I always ladies first, Jess.
Oh, okay. So do you want to know how high maintenance my cats are?
I could tell you that they're extremely high maintenance just because they're cats and they're the spawn of Satan. But go ahead.
They're not.
Oh,
My cats are
your
adorable
video.
and lovely.
No, your video. Oh my God, her arm got hit. Watch. Ooh.
Ooh.
That,
Ooh.
that hurts. This girl's got a broken arm and she's trying to clap it off.
Oh, and she's waving it too?
Yeah, she's
Anyway.
hurt. Your video on Snapchat
Which one?
of your cat stuck behind the drawer is the prime example of why I tell you these animals are the devil.
But she's so cute, her little face. But then I said, but do you want to know how you get their attention for anything?
How?
If you say, who's hungry, they think they're going to get fed. So they appear from wherever they're hiding. So she was in the back
And
of
then
the
you don't
drawer.
give them food?
No, that time I didn't because I went, who's hungry? And she came out and I was like, aha, I outsmarted you because I'm a human. But no. So we were, today, I stopped at home to get a few things and they were meowing at me because they were hungry. I'm like, okay, I'll feed you. So
How nice of you to feed your animals.
well, it was only 6 o'clock. They usually don't eat till like 7. So I was like, all right, I'll feed you because I don't know where my mom is. I don't know what time she's getting home.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, I'll feed them. I put it down in front of them, and the one looks at it and looks back up at me and starts meowing at me. And I'm like, what? She was not satisfied with the flavor of cat food that I chose.
Mm.
So I had to go open another container and give her a flavor that she would accept.
Ooh.
She did not enjoy the perky turkey. She wanted the oh my cod. So I gave her the oh my cod.
Couldn't you just died because you didn't tell me the name of the dog?
Such a little brat. Such a little brat.
Well,
Would not
normally-
eat the food I put in front
Normally
of her.
Lucifer's spawn is.
They are not though. They're so good and sweet. You wouldn't call them that if you knew them.
Yes, I will. First off, before I get to my This Is Madness, we didn't talk about Malachi Richardson. We mentioned his name. Sixers get him. Kid went to Syracuse. Was a good shooter at Syracuse. He's probably a two-way contract type of guy. He's long, athletic. So
6'6", 30% three-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter, 7-foot wingspan.
yeah, so he's a long, athletic kid. I think this was an upside move. There is a ton of upside there, but he's been a below-average player so far in his career. He's played like 20-plus games a season, that sort of thing. And I think he's been spending time going back and forth with the G League this year. But, you know, maybe a guy that becomes a bench piece for them, we don't know. All right, here's my This Is Madness before we get ready to end the show, Jess. We talked about this earlier. You know, one of our favorite moments of the Super Bowl last year was obviously the Eagles coming onto the field. Dreams and Nightmares had kind of become their anthem. They were pumped. They were super excited about it. And then Meek became such an icon in the city that if you went to any Eagles home games this year, he started the video to get them into it. So wasn't it interesting to see at the Patriots celebration? It's one thing to be performing there as Meek Mill at the Patriots Super Bowl celebration, but to seem to be celebrating the Patriots Super Bowl.
Robert Kraft got you out of jail and asked you to perform at the celebration, wouldn't you say yes, sir?
There's a difference between performing and enjoying it. Are you Philly or are you not Philly?
Oh my God, he tweeted today and was like, guys, relax, I'm all Philly, it's fine. Again, if you're in jail and Robert Kraft gets you out of jail, you do what Robert Kraft asked you to do.
I'm not
saying
that he couldn't perform. You perform and you leave the stage. You don't celebrate it.
If you're getting paid, you do?
No.
Okay.
Show
you
some
need to
loyalty.
relax.
I'm actually really not that mad. It was just funny,
you
and
need to relax.
people were really getting mad on Twitter
I know.
about it.
I'm
Like
everyone
they were
needs to
attacking
chill.
the man. Like I'm doing it more in jest. You know, they are literally attacking the man.
It's just like, the man was in jail, and he give all the credit to Robert Kraft and Michael Rubin. They're the ones who got
But
him
my
out.
God, I'm tired of all these teams trying to steal all the Eagles stuff to get their wins.
Yeah, please
They
stop.
stole the whole underdog thing.
Yeah, they had a tweet
and then,
that said,
and then,
we
wait a
all we
minute.
got, we
They're
all
at
we
their,
need,
and then
I was like, oh, please
they're
spare
at
me.
their Super Bowl parade. And who are they talking about on an Instagram video or Snapchat video?
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson.
Owning all that real estate up here for free.
He's in your heads.
Add him next time.
We'll be back.
Don't ask us to do it for you.
We'll
add him
be
next
back.
time.
We'll see you from that. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, Friday mornings, 9 to 11, wildfireradio.com. YouTube, search the Madness Podcast. Follow at Philly_Madness, at RunThisTown13. We love to have you. Shop.prosportsnotes.com. Go get some of the new merchandise. Just you have a great week.
You too.
We will be back next week. Embrace the madness, everybody. Have a good one.